2.
Hello, welcome to another episode of Soul Where They Love, where we explore that love is safe, and if it's not safe, it's not love, with beautiful Carmelina. And something we're starting today that's I think is going to be interesting. We're going to explore the 5 love lies. So, love lie number 1, and I think it's pretty interesting. You just need to find the right person. So,
why is that a lie? Everybody uses that. You haven't found the right person.
And we were talking about before, like, can you talk about your experience of what, ended up happening because you did the work and you worked on the subconscious beliefs and you became more conscious. What was it like for you? You want to share a little bit?
I think initially, and I know a lot of people who share this, is that after coming out of a very long marriage, I was subconsciously looking for someone that looked like him, physically.
Felt like him?
Right. And even though I wasn't looking for a long time, if I was talking to anyone that was that age or whatnot, and I went as far as someone actually asked me, what kind of guy am I looking for? And I found a picture of somebody who, was tall or whatever. And I think that's similar to women who love to date bad boys, because that's the kind of dopamine, adrenaline. So, and it's so funny because I was certainly not in a place to meet anybody, but if somebody initially was asking me, that's what I was looking at. Now, fast forward 6 years, when I thought I was ready, finally, a lot of stuff had resolved, and I'd done 6 years of self-work, including with you, right? Because I started way back with you, and every year you're becoming, to use your thing, is you're growing, and I wanted to grow. And when I finally got to the point of being ready to meet somebody, I went on a couple of initial dates. I'd be nervous wreck. Nervous wreck, yeah. And I still remember sitting in your office. We were working on the 3rd round, of just coaching with you over the years, over a 6-year span. And you said to me, I think you're going to meet someone. And, it still brings chills. And I looked at you and said, I think I'm going to meet someone too. And the person somebody set me up with was nothing like someone I would have met, like subconsciously, that I thought I was looking for. I was in a different place now. Now I was like, I'm open to anything, right?
Yeah, that's something that I like to say is you won't attract who you want, you're going to attract who you are.
Yeah.
You won't attract who you want, you're going to attract who you are. And most of us are not aware of our subconscious programming. We're not aware of what we really are thinking, because even though consciously you believe you want a consciously loving relationship, when subconsciously it's too dangerous for you to do that, it won't let you have it. And so what I like to do when I work with couples, which is, it's goosebumpy, is like, I do the mind-body work, so I check one person, I'm ready, willing, and able to trust love. I fix the subconscious belief they have there. Then I work with the other partner, I'm ready, willing, and able to trust love, okay? And then I get them together, and then we are ready, willing, and able to trust love.
I failed that test, when I was alone, let alone bring in a partner.
So when I do it with a couple, I sit there, and it's always amazing and magical, because I would say 90 to 95% of the time, we find a similar story with the same emotion at the same age. A similar story with a similar emotion at the same age. So when you meet someone in the bar or online or, at the grocery store, you bumped into each other and you go on a date, you don't know consciously that this person shares a similar story, but you do. And this is what's going to attract you together, because remember, the aim of a relationship is not to make you happy or miserable. The aim of a relationship is to teach you how to love, because when you love, you feel happy. So a relationship will make you happier if you do the work. because you will learn to love yourself, which is what you like. It's been
Yeah,
really
that's
cool
step
to
one,
see.
yeah.
That you've become like, when you start loving who you are and you let go of the story that something is wrong with you or unworthy of love. When you let go of that story, and now you go, oh wow, I'm actually worthy of having this. And then you're clear about what it is that I'm looking for. So yes, you're going to meet the right person, but not because this person is going to come and take away your bubble, but because now you're more conscious of who you are and how deserving you are and what matters to you, i.e. really download the happy relationship checklist. There's one for people who are in relationships and people who are single. Download that relationship, it's free. And the 5 points that are in there are really great at helping you find the right person, but not until you've done the understanding of who you are and what your values are. Because otherwise, it's like being in a fog. And like, I remember when I was 15 years old, like starting to date, if a guy looked, at me a certain way and wanted me, I would go with him because he wanted me. Okay. So I was not even aware, what is it you're supposed to look for in a relationship? And after a few months, usually I would get bored. And then I would dump them. So,
well, at least you're being honest.
So I was getting bored, and then until I met my charming prince, and he was like so suave, he was everything I dreamt. The Woman in Red, the movie where she falls in love with this charming prince. Well, that's what he was like for me. He was 8 years older than me. He did rock videos. He was cool. He was worldly. He was everything. The poor guy. I was so infatuated with him. It must have not been fun on the receiving end. So I went on this path and I learned so much. I learned so much about love through that. And I was actually, when I was older, I had this moment where I was totally infatuated with this guy again. And I went to teach in France, and I was so infatuated with him. I wanted to see him. And I get home, the phone rings, and it's him. And I'm so happy. I bought him presents at the airport. I can't wait to see him. And he says, I'm calling you to let you know I no longer wish to continue this relationship. Goodbye. Click. And I was like, oh, and I'm lying in bed and I'm crying in so much pain, and it hurt so much that I said, I want to die. And then I went, whoa, what did you just say, Lise? You want to die? You want to die for a guy that's obviously not the right guy, otherwise he would want to be with you.
I'd be like, can you re-gift those gifts? No, I'm joking, because at that age I'd have done what you did.
But at that moment, that's when I decided that it was never what the person was doing that was dangerous. It's what you do with what the person is saying or doing that's dangerous. So if you can really anchor inside of you that since I'm worthy of love, what's really going on right now? And how am I going to deal with this? Because the other way around is like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Why is this happening? I'll never be able to find love, and it's dangerous. So now you want to protect yourself. Now you meet someone, and the timing is always going to be off. Either it's the right person, it's the wrong timing, or it's the wrong person, and then you're open to doing this because subconsciously you're going to be going for this thing that can never fulfill
but you're
what
also
you want.
feeding your mind that.
Yeah,
so
it's all connected.
You used to say what you fear you bring near.
Yes.
So, that's part of the thing is.
So when I work with couples and then they see that actually the thing that they are afraid of subconsciously is what attracted them together, it's like a big aha moment, because I would say, again, 90 to 95% of the time, if you're fighting, it's not about what's happening at that moment. It's the fear that's been created a long time ago that's now showing up in this relationship. So, hope you enjoyed this little episode. What do you think? Anything you would like to add about becoming the person instead of looking for the person?
Well, I hate to say it, but it is a journey.
Yes, it's a journey. And that's why you understand this, like, the more you can look at romantic life as a way to evolve spiritually. Because in my belief, this God is love. So the more you learn how to love, the more you become spiritually connected. And the only way you can learn unconditional love is by learning to love yourself and learning to love another being. So a romantic life is actually a spiritual evolutionary tool. You have no choice but to learn to do those two things if you want to have a consciously loving relationship. It sounds like a lot of work, and it could be, but it's such a fulfilling journey. Mm-hmm. Like the relationship that you have now compared to what you have before is probably night and days.
Well, it's just different, and
it's fulfilling.
And you manage expectations different. And I've spent a lot of time on self-work. A lot of people don't do that. They come out of these relationships, they're bitter, and they're looking for what they had. And that, I think, is step one. But
what's the difference? What's the difference in the fulfillment you experience now?
The difference is I do love myself now, and I worked on that for the last 8 years.
And the person you're with right now,
he allows me to do that. We both work on each other. He works on him, I work on me, and our objective is to bring the best that we can to the relationship. And we're never going to stop growing, because if you stop growing as a person and as a couple, in my opinion, then you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, you get bored.
Yeah.
So, and they live happily ever after. That only happens in the fairy tale story, because there's nothing in the universe that, you don't need to put any energy into if you want it to grow.
Yeah.
So, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with someone who can benefit from it. Also, like us, follow us, and check out our next Soul Really webinar. We can actually come and interact with me while we're getting together. Bye for now.